great seat for today's standing room only event. Pitt holds an impressive 12-1 record against top 10 opponents in this building. And today they host number 6 Syracuse, a team that hasn't won a game in Pittsburgh since February of 2004. Road test Saturday tips off next. Welcome to the Saturday Showcase presented by 5-Hour Energy. It's a pivotal Big East contest between the 6th-ranked Syracuse Orange and the Pitt Panthers in front of a packed house, including the Oakland Zoo. Syracuse and Marquette sit atop the Big East standings with 6-1 records. The Orange haven't played since an overtime loss at Villanova last Saturday. Pitt currently sitting in 9th place following a loss Monday night at Louisville. That snapped a 4-game conference win streak. Good afternoon, everybody. Mike Patrick, Len Elmore. It's great to have you with us. An injury and an academic issue are impacting Syracuse basketball. Jim Boeheim's going to be without 2 of his top 6 players today.
He certainly would be concerned about that. The fact is, DeJuan Coleman, a guy who's missing due to an injury, he provided some frontline depth, but the guy who really is missing from Syracuse lineup is James Sutherland. 14 points a game. He's the guy that stretches the defenses. That 14 points are hard to make up.
There aren't many teams in the country that can say they've had the kind of success against Syracuse that Pittsburgh has had.
Well, Pittsburgh over the years has been an outstanding offensive rebounding team. They lead the Big East in the percentage of offensive rebounds off of their misses, and they've been able to do that against the zone. They also have been able to pass the ball extremely well with 17 assists per game, and that's what they have to do against this 2-3.
Well, the one-on-one, we're going to tell you about Pittsburgh's ability not only to protect the ball, but to share it.
Yeah, I mean, versus the zone, they've got to be able to move the ball. As I mentioned, second in the Big East in assists at 17 assists per game. That movement will help them get some open opportunities. And in transition, every time they rebound, they've got to push the ball. And against that Syracuse zone, that length creates extreme problems for the opposition. You know, the wingspan covers the passing lanes. They create steal opportunities. They're second in the Big East in steals, creating turnovers once every 4 opponent possessions.
Let's take a look at our Michelin starting lineups. The Orange of Syracuse at 18-2. Brandon Trish, their leading scorer. Len, they're going to need even more from him.
Yeah, with the absence of James Sutherland, Trish has stepped up his game. 17 points is what he's averaged over the last 4.
For Pitt at 17-5, Talib Zanna, the most improved player on Pitt's team.
Well, Zanna is Pitt's leading scorer. He's in a position to get the Syracuse front line in foul trouble, which certainly will help Pittsburgh.
What an atmosphere it is in this building. I love this place.
I tell you what, when it gets to the point where I can't hear you, you know they're jumping.
What? Syracuse controls the opening tip. The nation's leading assist man, Michael Carter-Williams, with the ball.
Look at that hard screen by Adams, hard hedge by Adams. Man-to-man, Pittsburgh opens up. Always a solid defensive team.
Another double team. Carter-Williams gets rid of it. Grant making the start. Leans into one, can't hit it.
Playing that solid man-to-man, Pittsburgh leads the Big East in points allowed. About 55 points per game is what opponents are scoring.
3 terrific passers on this ball club. Both guards and the small forward, Lamar Patterson, all in the top 6 in the Big East. And as soon as you say that, they turn it over.
Well, it was a slip going into the jump shot. Ball just slipped out of the hand.
Trish got caught up in the lane. He lost the ball. Woodall on the run. Pull-up jumper. 2-0.
That's one of the things we talked about in the open. In transition, off the rebound, off the steal, Pittsburgh's got to take advantage of those benefit opportunities so they don't have to play against that zone that often.
Trish gives it up to Fair. The left-hander back to Carter-Williams. Fair doesn't get the bounce. The outlet to Woodall from Zana.
Zana with a nice block out to get the rebound. Anytime a big guy can get a rebound without jumping, leaving the floor, means he's boxed out very well.
Robinson and Woodall both can handle the ball extremely well in the backcourt. Robinson, nice pass inside. Zana has it rejected. There's Adams, got his hands on it and then lost it on the way up for the follow.
Nice look, better defense right there.
That shot was forced up by Grant, but the follow will count.
There's
we're tied at 2.
The senior, Brandon Trish. We talked about him upping his game in the absence of James Sutherland. And again, Syracuse needs to find ways to score and find guys who can put the ball in the basket. Sutherland, 13.6. His absence really hurts the Syracuse offensive attack.
Double team in the corner results in a turnover. Carter Williams. Long rebound tipped outside to Woodall. 2-on-2. He waits for Patterson. Robinson wide open for 3. Offensive rebound. The step through and the miss by Adams, and the ball goes out of bounds. He really hasn't found himself offensively yet.
I'll tell you what, though, that's the beginning right there. And obviously disappointed he didn't get the layup. But the fact that he did step through, if he took his time and recognized that he's in control, and at 7 feet tall under the basket, he can power up, probably would have made that shot.
The freshman from New Zealand. Trish got into the lane, had it taken away. Robinson back the other way, 1-on-2, tries a circus shot, can't hit it, and Pitt can't corral the rebound. Well, Pitt's gotten some good fast break opportunities and unable to convert.
Yeah, and that's what Jamie Dixon was a bit worried about. Offensive rebounds, transition opportunities. He wants his team and needs his team to connect. You know, they're somewhat offensively challenged as well.
Fair, nice scoop. Fair averages 13.5 points a game. The lefty out of Baltimore gives the Orange its first lead of the game.
And C.J. Fair with good instincts, taking the ball to the basket, being guarded man-to-man.
Good pass inside to Adams, forced it up, can't hit it. Pitt does corral the rebound, however. This one is tipped away, and the ball's going to go out of bounds to the Panthers with 9 on the shot clock.
Jim Boeheim complaining that Carter Williams got held on the way to the ball.
And he did.
And I was going to say, he may have a case there.
You know, it's gotten to the point now when there's a loose ball, anything goes until somebody gets possession.
This is football country, man.
Yeah, yes, it is. And this facility on the site of old Pitt Stadium. Long shot by Patterson, won't go. Carter Williams back the other way. Both teams stone cold to start this game. Fair, a little fadeaway. In and out, tough shot. And there's a man over the back, and a late whistle going to be a call against Syracuse. Christmas just had his Pitt counterpart wrapped up, and he picks up his first.
That's what I was saying about Zana with his block out. But C.J. Fair, recognizing the man-to-man, he's got the advantage. He takes his man home.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is presented by 5 Hour Energy. What will you do in 5 hours? And in part by the Lincoln Motor Company.
4-2 early Syracuse here at the Petersen Events Center. They're calling it a gold out. So far they can't call it a shootout because Pitt is 1 out of 7. Syracuse is 2 out of 7. And the Panthers have missed their last 6 shots. What a run for Jamie Dixon. 255 wins. He's in his 10th season, averaged nearly 27 wins a year at this point.
But last year was one of his toughest years, 5-13 in the Big East. You know, that's unheard of for Pittsburgh. And right now, this game means an awful lot, not only for Big East standings, but has some national impact. Pitt trying to get their signature win. They had chances against Michigan, against Cincinnati, and against Louisville, and they lost the 3 of them against those ranked teams. Here's another opportunity for them to get into the NCAA tournament conversation.
This would qualify. Dante Taylor is on the court for Pittsburgh. He wears number 11. He replaces the 7-foot freshman. Taylor averaging about 4.5 points and 4.5 rebounds a game. Off the bench. Shot clock is down to 7. Ziegler checks in. Nice pass to Taylor. And to me, that's the difference between the freshman and the senior. The senior knew where he was supposed to go on penetration.
Yeah, and he's a high percentage shooter, too. Second on the all-time field goal percentage list for Pitt. He knows what to do with him when he gets it.
Grant with a miss. Cooney is in for Syracuse. Really good outside shooter.
And one thing Pittsburgh has, and they need to use, is their depth.
Deron Johnson with a 3 has the ball knocked out of bounds. It'll be out to Syracuse.
Well, you're going to take a look right here. On the penetration in the gaps, and you get to the short corner, Taylor's waiting for it. And a strong move to the basket. And you're right, Mike. Steven Adams needs to take a page out of that book, because Dante Taylor, obviously with the power move to the basket, Adams athletic enough, but just not experienced enough.
Carter Williams turns it over. Could have been called for a foul too as he held afterward. Here's a foul at the other end as Fair hacks Johnson.
Well, that was just a straight up take it away from him. Woodall, a nice job right there, and then looking up the court. So important, and we talked about transition. Pittsburgh at every opportunity pushing the ball up the floor.
Johnson, the redshirt freshman from Baltimore. Pretty good shooter. He's also 72% from the free throw line, but misses the first. Jamie Dixon has a 10-man rotation. As a matter of fact, he's only got 10 guys. Everybody else on that bench is redshirting. So when he plays 10, he's playing everybody he's got. Carter Williams kicks it into the corner. Fair for 3.
Well, that's the versatility of C.J. Fair. We've seen him take people inside, off the bounce, now drifting to the shot. 40% from beyond the arc, and Carter Williams needs an outlet after his penetration.
Ziegler comes back, gets caught up early. J.J. Moore in the game gets his first shot, but misses. Carter Williams kicks it ahead to Cooney. Back to Carter Williams, and he knocks down a 3. Syracuse, not a terrific three-point shooting team, only 32% on the year, but they've made their last 2.
I'll tell you what, though, Michael Carter Williams, for all the gifts that he has, almost 9 assists per game. If he ever perfects the jump shot and become a threat outside, consistent threat outside game,
he'll just be a monster, won't he?
He certainly will. Both inside and out with that size off of penetration. No big guy likes to see a 6'6" guard, athletic guard, driving down the lane on him.
Jamie Dixon says a lot of people talk about threes against the 2-3 zone as Woodall fires. He says that's not the answer, though. Penetration is the answer.
Yeah, they are able, on moving the ball side to side, to find some gaps in the Syracuse zone, and they've exploited it.
0 for 6. Tip followed by Fair is good. And we've got a timeout as Syracuse, with a burst, has taken a 12-5 lead here at Pittsburgh.
Well, the Orange leading by 7, and their secret has been penetration. Michael Carter-Williams kicking it out to C.J. Fair, and Carter-Williams then stepping up in transition from beyond the arc, knocking down shots. And again, James Sutherland not in the ball game. Syracuse finding guys who have upped their game offensively, and that's allowed them to take this 7-point lead.
And Cooney hasn't even tried one. It's an 8-0 run for the Orange. Taylor trapped inside. The held ball will go back to Pitt on the possession arrow.
A good idea by Taylor. Once again, getting the ball in the sweet spot, turning, locating the middle guy across the back line. And if he comes up on you, that's when you put it on the floor, create some advantages to try to hit somebody in the short corner. But that time, Taylor just lost the ball. He fumbled it.
Adams will come back in his stead.
Unfortunately, now Pittsburgh has a different look with Adams in there. They don't have anyone at that spot, that sweet spot, that's nifty enough.
Crowd trying to help with a shot clock. It's down to 3 with the left hand Robinson, the freshman from Mitchellville, Maryland. And Adams comes up limping after that play. Fair will try another 3. Too strong on this one. The rebound to J.J. Moore.
Yeah, you're right. Adams pretty slow coming down. I think Jamie Dixon recognizes that. Taylor going back to the scorer's table.
$11:58 to go first half. Pittsburgh trying to cut into this lead, and Robinson gets a deuce. It is road test Saturday. Duke has had just so many problems at Florida State since 2002. Michigan, talk about problems, 14 in the last 15 at Indiana. This one may be a little different with Michigan, number 1. Let's take a look at today's Wendy's Wooden Watch. Trey Burton, Cody Zeller. What do you like in that matchup?
I mean, 2 outstanding players. I'm not so sure, again, that when you look at those guys, that you can really see much of a difference in their impact on the game. Obviously, Trey Burke, a point guard, with the ball. But Cody Zeller has played better defense in many ways than his offense has been thus far, though he's got the potential to be dominant offensively.
Pittsburgh getting killed on the boards. They have no second chance points so far in this game through 8 minutes.
Well, they've got 4 offensive rebounds. They just haven't converted, and that was one of the things Jamie Dixon spoke to us about, one of his concerns. He wants to be able to convert those.
Petersen tries to bounce past. That ball is kicked.
You get 4 offensive rebounds. You've got to be able to, get some points. Those are extra opportunities.
By Musakita, number 12 has checked in for Jim Boeheim.
And also Pitt 0 for 6 from beyond the arc. You know, they've got to continue to go inside out. Get some guys that get an unchallenged jumper.
Great pass there. The basket counts and a foul. Dante Taylor takes a perfect pass and will have a chance at a three-point play.
Well, we talk about Dante Taylor's ability in that zone. You see the gaps that were created. A lot of room in there, and Taylor finds a seam, goes up strong. And the last 2 games, he's averaged 9 points, 6 of 10 from the field with 6 rebounds. Again, he's a guy who comes in for Steven Adams, plays spot minutes, but his minutes are effective.
That makes it a 2-point deficit. Oh, close to a carry.
Yeah, Fair got it up right around the headband.
Carter Williams doesn't get the roll but draws the foul.
Yeah,
that'll be on Robinson, first on the freshman.
Carter Williams at 6'6", Robinson 6'3". Carter Williams with that length, obviously an advantage. Pittsburgh trying to play man-to-man, trying to match up. But the size advantage sometimes is a little bit too much.
Carter Williams has had 9 double-digit assist games this year. Got a shot at the school record set by Sherman Douglas back in '88-'89. He had 14 games with double-digit assists. Knocks both free throws down, 70% from the line this year. And he'll get a breather as Trish comes back in. Won't be on the bench long.
No, he can't be. I mean, when you look at Syracuse, you do a plus-minus measurement. They're plus almost 18 points with Carter Williams on the floor.
Pitt's had his chances. They've gotten some penetration against this 2-3 zone, but they haven't made it pay off like that. That was Trey Ziegler.
Yeah, that time, once again, Pittsburgh stretching the zone, creating the gaps. Look at that right there. Good defense.
And Trish made the cardinal error of not knowing where he was going with the ball when he went up in the air. Just got caught. Pitt with a chance to cut into the lead. Patterson couldn't hit it.
There's
offensive rebound. And then finally they convert one.
There's the offensive rebound. That's, I think, what this crowd was waiting for, what we were waiting for, to see Pittsburgh not only offensive rebound, but to convert.
And no matter how good a 2-3 zone is, Len, it has limitations as far as rebound.
That's right, because you're guarding an area, not a man.
This foul is going to be on Taylor. Crowd doesn't like it. But that's his first.
And when you're playing against the zone, your offensive rebounder, you've got to get to spots. And right here, just if he hadn't poured his hands down, it probably wouldn't have been called for that. Good defense, good physical defense.
Grant, who was a former teammate and a good friend of James Robinson for Pittsburgh. They both played in Hyattsville, Maryland for the legendary DeMatha program. And Grant knocks down both free throws to lead back to 2.
And in the absence of Sutherland and now DeJuan Coleman for Syracuse, Jim Boeheim was singing the praises of Jeremy Grant. Last 4 games, he's averaged 10 points a game, so he has upped his game as well.
Right now, instead of going 9 deep, Syracuse only has 7 scholarship players to put out there. They may go a little deeper depending on foul trouble. And look at that. People getting tired. Blocked from behind. Taylor, it looked like Von Musakita got a piece of that one. Here is the run on the pass to Carter Williams. Trish, great job on the touch pass.
And just when you thought Pittsburgh had a layup on a terrific find, it's their defense, their length that creates a transition bucket.
If you're a freshman like Carter Williams, it really helps that you can pass the ball to a senior like Trish. Here's another loose ball, and the steal by Grant. Possession arrow will give it to the Orange.
And Mike, you're right. It helps to have a senior like Trish. You see the block right there. Terrific job defensively. It helps to have a senior like Trish, but also helps to be 6'6", and you can do that. Hello.
He's on the list for the Wooden Award, the Naismith Award, the Cousy Award, and the Robertson Award. Grant. That'll draw a foul. And it will be on Trey Woodall, his first.
Well, Woodall maybe a half step slower. He anticipated that pass, but that half step forced him to body up, and he gets called for it.
Referee warning the players knock it off in the lane as they're pushing and grabbing each other. Tough runner. Oh, wouldn't that have been something? Knocked out of bounds out to Pitt.
Boy, Jeremy Grant got up there in the second deck.
Had a chance at a slam follow.
Watch this, man. He's right there at you. Just missed it. Whew.
That might have drawn a little applause even from the Pitt crowd.
And if you're watching it in 3D, it looked like he slapped it in the face.
Pitt down by 4, now down by 2 as Zana hits the baseline jumper. Averages 11.5 points a game after only 6.3 a year ago.
Good job by Taylor not allowing Fair to turn the corner, and then hard heads to keep Trish from turning the corner.
Trish down the lane against a double team. No. Woodall had that pass tipped away. As good as Pitt has been all year long at assist to turnover ratio and not making mistakes, the Syracuse defense has forced them into a lot of mistakes so far this afternoon. Fair double team stolen by Woodall. Quick hands. Petersen. Got the roll and a foul. Raheem Christmas picks up the foul. What a great adjustment by Petersen.
Well, it's a case of defense creating offense. Woodall with the steal, and then straight down the lane, Petersen. Everybody leaned to that side to make it go in.
Chris Cotter and Coach Greenberg back in our college basketball studios. 149 Division I college basketball games today, many of which you can see on ESPN networks right now over on ESPN2. Purdue and Northwestern. Northwestern giving Purdue all they can handle, and Cincinnati, no problem with Seton Hall, Coach.
Yeah, Cashman Wright and Sean Kilpatrick, 32 of the 52 points for the Bearcats.
Back to Mike and Len at the Petersen Events Center.
All right, Chris, and we have an 18-18 tie between Syracuse and Pittsburgh with 7:09 to go first half of play. We told you about the small Syracuse bench and the big Pittsburgh bench, and it's making a difference right now.
Yeah, I mean, look at the Pittsburgh bench. That depth is really telling the tale, as Syracuse with only 7 guys that they can rotate in there because of injury and suspension. Pittsburgh's outscoring the Syracuse bench 10-0. And not only does it have impact now, but down the stretch, you're starting to wear guys down. You know, and the 10 players that Pittsburgh has, it's going to keep a lot of people fresh. Take a look at this flip-flop. Pittsburgh started 3 of 13 from the field since they've been 5 of 7. Syracuse started the game 1 of 8 since they've been 5 of 9. So, you know, both of these teams are going back and forth as to who's got the momentum, who's hot.
Patterson fails on the three-point play, so we're still tied. Trish. And Trish will be called for an offensive foul. Number 25, Marquette. Number 12, Louisville. 2 o'clock. Marquette tied for first place in the Big East with Syracuse, and Louisville finally breaks that losing streak. And they're very tough at home.
And as I mentioned before, you know, that both teams started out cold, and now each possession will be kind of trading opportunities. That's why we're tied right now.
Cameron Wright, number 3, is into the ball game for the Panthers. Adams, the 7-footer, gets it and gives it up. Wright, good touch pass. Woodall for 3. Their first 3-point bucket of the day. They missed their first 7.
And remember, Mike, at the beginning of the telecast, we talked about the 17 assists per game and how important that was for Pittsburgh. Well, right now, they've got 8 assists on 9 field goals. So the ball movement has really played to the benefit of the Pittsburgh Panthers.
Well, pass leads to another turnover. And on the sideline, the Panthers return the favor as Wright stepped on the sideline.
You know, if they could just minimize the turnovers, Pittsburgh, their opportunities have increased or will increase. But Syracuse, obviously a terrific defensive team. They're going to find ways to take it away from you. I don't care how good you are at protecting the ball.
Carter Williams had to pick up his dribble avoiding the double team. Well, now he fires and misses everything. He only shoots 28% from long range and 36.5% overall. That is not his strength. And you shoot a shot like that, it pretty much deters you from shooting anytime again soon.
And subconsciously, this crowd being in your ear will also deter you.
Adams, the pass may be a little too high. Carter Williams back the other way. Fair. Got it. Boy, he's got a nice touch.
Yeah, the lefty really smooth. One dribble pull up.
People don't talk about him a lot. He averages 8.5 points, 7.5 rebounds a game. He is a vital part of this team. Patterson dribbles into a triple team, gets out of it and gives it back to Wright. Pitt by 1, 4:35 and counting. Wright got it. Cameron Wright, the sophomore from Cleveland, Ohio.
He's been hot last 2 games, 6 of 8 from the field. He comes into this,
nearly lost it.
comes into this game, Wright does, just right away. putting his mark on it.
Be a reach and hold on Woodall. 2 on Trey Woodall.
And Jamie Wright again judiciously using his substitutions. And you take a look at the Syracuse team, you got Jeremy Wright with his hands on his hips. I may not want to admit it, but when guys start doing that or tugging at their shorts, they're a little winded. And I think this impact of this depth of Pittsburgh, tenacity of their defense will have an effect on wearing Syracuse down.
Grant can't get the roll. 1 and done again for Syracuse. Ziegler gives it up to Robinson, who took over the point guard duties for Woodall. And Woodall 7th all time as a point guard. That's how much they like Robinson handling the ball. Adams not even looking at the basket. Petersen has it knocked away. Another turnover, 2-on-1. Cooney drops it off, but no basket to foul before. And that'll be on Robinson, number 2 on James Robinson. 3-point lead for Pitt. They are so good here, especially against top 10 opponents.
Chris Cotter with you. Coming up on the UPS Halftime Report, I'll be joined by coaches Greenberg and Pearl. We'll take a look at the other Big East game going on right now over on the U, Cincinnati and Seton Hall, and we'll preview Michigan and Indiana tonight on ESPN, our weekly coach-to-coach segment with our resident thespians in-house. We'll see you at the half. Until then, back to Mike and Len.
All right, Chris, thanks very much. We are at the Petersen Events Center. Here's some of the other things going on in the Big East. St. John's on a run. Won their last 5 conference games. They'll try to make it 6 in a row at Georgetown this afternoon. Marquette tied for first in the conference at Louisville later. And Jim Boeheim hoping when this game's over, he's still got a piece of that Big East lead.
I'll tell you what, Marquette, you got to give Buzz Williams an awful lot of credit. No one really expected them to be anywhere close to first place at this time of the season.
Fair got cut off at the baseline. Pitt leading by 3. Under 3 minutes to go.
And again, Pitt persists in a solid man-to-man, hard hedge. That time, Chris avoided it.
Leaned into one. The follow won't go, but a foul. That'll be on Taylor. Good offensive rebound there by Musakita.
Take a look at Musakita. Just a straight lane. No one blocks him out. And there's the foul over the back. But you got to continue to do the fundamental things if you're Pittsburgh. And you got to block a guy that big off the lane.
He is not a good free throw shooter, although that one rattles in. 48% on the year. Adams will come back in, still limping a little bit. And Taylor will go out with that second personal foul.
You know, Taylor obviously gives Pittsburgh a much better look against the 2-3 zone. His ability to put the ball on the floor,
sure,
etc. And now you got a hobble Steven Adams in. You wonder again what's Pittsburgh's look going to be. You know, how effective can they be against this 2-3 zone without the nifty guy right there at the sweet spot?
Baseline jumper way short. Adams got a hand on it. Quickly back in, trying to draw a foul, and instead rattles one in.
I give Wright a lot of credit for the solid defense once Trish got into the lane. The problem was Trish got into the lane.
Yeah. 5 ties, 4 lead changes in the first half. To shoot. Wright gets it to Adams. He'll try it. 15-footer. Steven Adams, the freshman from New Zealand, who averages only 6 points a ball game, finally looked at the basket and took a shot.
Okay, so he heard me.
Yeah.
He said, I'll show that Elmore. I can handle it up there. Ooh, man.
Whoa. What a foul by Grant.
And we mentioned it before, Jeremy Grant.
Got some hops, doesn't he?
He's got hops, athletic as I don't know what. And again, a guy that stepped up his game with Sutherland out.
Tied at 25. The Pitt bench providing more than 2.5 times the number of minutes as the Syracuse bench is providing.
Got away with one right there. Looked like a
Ziegler got caught up in the air, let the ball go. All alone is Zana.
And Jim Boeheim screaming about Ziegler's play, said it's a travel. And he went up and down, and in fact he did. They missed it.
You can't voluntarily let go of the ball and get away with a travel. It has to be knocked away.
One of those playground moves nobody called.
Yes, sir. Crowd in a frenzy here. Grant drives the baseline and turns it over. .8 seconds left. And Jamie Dixon's club is going to get the last shot. Woodall brings it up.
See the high screen is trying to create gaps for the drive.
Woodall will take the three. Just nicks the front of the rim. Ball knocked out of bounds. 1.8 on the clock. Out to the Orange.
That was a lack of patience right there by Woodall.
Trish from three-quarter court. That's the end of the first half, and the Pitt Panthers with a 27-25 lead. Syracuse 5 points off of 8 Pittsburgh turnovers. They blocked a lot more than that. And Pitt with 10 assists on 12 buckets. That's our halftime story. Now we take you to Chris Cotter and Seth Greenberg. They're in the studio for the UPS halftime report.
Thank you, Mike. This is the UPS halftime report. Seth Greenberg is here. And, Coach, I mean, what do you make of this low-scoring game here so far in Pittsburgh?
The Orange once again missing James Sutherland's ability to make shots. Pitt shrinking the defense, good pressure on the ball. this is going to go down to the wire.
Yeah, it certainly looks that way. 2-point lead right now for Pitt at the half. The other Big East game going on over on the U, Cincinnati at Seton Hall. Mick Cronin and the 24th ranked Bearcats trying to get a road win in conference. First half, Kashmir Wright with the defense here, the steal to Sean Kilpatrick, Wooden Award candidate. What do you like about his game?
When you talk about the Bearcats, you talk about perimeter play. Parker, Kilpatrick, Wright, as good as there is in the Big East.
Here's Kilpatrick going to drain the three here. He can score from everywhere on the court with the layup.
Kilpatrick's hard to keep out of the lane, and they stretch the court because three guys can beat you off the bounce.
But here come the Pirates. Eugene Teague with the lay-in here in the paint, and suddenly it's just a 6-point lead for Cincinnati. Much more to come on the UPS halftime report, including a breakdown of Indiana and Michigan tonight on ESPN. It's time for Coach to Coach next.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Wendy's. Now that's better. This halftime report is delivered by UPS. Let UPS put the power of logistics to work for you.
We have a third member of the crew, Coach Pearl, joining the fray. How you doing, my man?
I'm good, Mr. Cotter. Coach Greenberg.
All right, let's talk about this Michigan-Indiana game tonight because it is going to be a doozy. I know you're going to want to watch it. 9 o'clock on ESPN. Number 1, Michigan. Number 3, Indiana and Bloomington. Michigan hasn't beaten a ranked Indiana team on the road since January of 1986, nearly 4 years before any current Wolverine was born. For the UPS logistics on how to slow this vaunted Michigan offense down, Coach Greenberg, I turn to you.
The key to Indiana defense is to disrupt the timing of Michigan and also to keep the ball on the side in all ball screen situations. Here, Trey Burke, as good as any guard in the country coming off the ball screen. You cannot let him get to the middle. Here, Aaron Craft, he downs the ball screen, forcing him to the baseline.
Coach, against that defense, McGarry shouldn't roll. He should pop so they can reverse the floor.
Again, pressure on the basketball, being physical, disrupting the timing of the Michigan offense is essential.
Here is what Michigan's going to do. They're going to post up Tim Hardaway against Farrell or Hulls inside.
Again, good pressure on the basketball. They push the defender out again, keeping Shannon Scott, keeping the ball on one side, pressuring the ball, and the weak side defenders must be alert.
Now, they don't roll up here, and Indiana makes a great play.
Pressure on the ball, being physical on ball reversal, disrupting timing, making it hard to get a good shot, and then keeping the ball in front and shrinking the court on the backside. Look on the two weak side defenders with Kraft and Deshaun Thomas. They get off the help and recover back to the shoot.
But Karis LeVert has got the best backcourt in the country standing on the weak side. That ball's got to be skip past early.
Evan Ravenel, early help. Nice job of shrinking the court, creating a turnover, and then all of a sudden, the Buckeyes are off and running, as will the Hoosiers be.
Well, Michigan and Indiana are the two most efficient offensive teams in the country this season, both rank in the top 6 nationally in field goal percentage and three-point percentage, and the Hoosiers are the highest scoring team in Division I, averaging 84 points per game. Our resident thespians, coach to coach. Coach Pearl as the cool, calm Coach Beeline, and Coach Greenberg as the over-animated Coach Cream.
John, we have the two most efficient offensive teams in college basketball, but the one thing I've realized is we're the most efficient defensive team in the Big Ten. We have the ability to lock you down, defend Trey Burke, and take the ball out of his hands.
Well, it's a good thing for both of us, Coach, because in 6 out of the last 7 national championship winners, they've been top 6 in offensive efficiency. That bodes well. And you guys have improved defensively.
Thank you.
But can you get back in transition and stop Stauskas and Hardaway in the wings and Trey Burke in the middle drag ball screen?
We've got to run Hardaway off that three-point line. We've got to put good pressure. We're going to jam that outlet pass and force Burke's first dribble to the sidelines. But we got a big fella named Cody Zeller. He's not a low-post player. You understand that? We're going to put him in the high post, the short corner. He's going to take it. That
Coach,
freshman of yours, he's going to
why are
whip
you
it right
giving
through
me your
and get by
scouting port right now, okay? I know we're in Assembly Hall. I know I got the ninth youngest
crazy.
team. I got 5 freshmen out there, okay?
Yeah, Digger
and
Phelps
you're
is
right.
there.
You guys might have the advantage us here, but we're not going to foul you, Coach, okay? We're not going to stay in the foul line 28 times
you're not gonna
like
try to
everybody
foul
else
us.
does it.
I
No, it's a
understand
big game, and the referees are going to let us play in this basketball game. And you're going to think we're going to miss Jordan Morgan? We're not going to miss Jordan.
Here's the deal. We're going to push that ball screen to the side. We're going to get the ball to Zeller, and I love Victor Oladipo. Oladipo's going to take Hardaway out. We're going to contain Burke. Boom, right down the middle of the floor. Cody Zeller right by the defense. McGarry for 30 minutes. He's good for 20, but can he play 30 or 35? I don't think so.
Coach, you're probably right.
Hey,
probably.
You a football fan?
Of course I'm a football fan. I'm from Buffalo.
You're going to watch the Super Bowl?
Of course someone watches the Super Bowl.
You know, the two guys playing? Yeah, relatives of mine.
You know, I'd root for the guy that was nicer to your sister, Joni.
Now, from watching these interviews, that's probably John.
Joni, of course, the sister of John and Jim Harbaugh. Super Bowl tomorrow night. This game tonight, Michigan and Indiana, number 1 versus number 3. Game day is going to be there. You should be too. 9 o'clock on ESPN. More UPS halftime report to come.
Logistics of the game is delivered by UPS. Let UPS put the power of logistics to work for you. This halftime report is delivered by UPS. Let UPS put the power of logistics to work for you.
Chris Cotter and Coach Greenberg back with you here. UPS halftime report. Let's take a look at a couple of games in the ACC right now. And maybe a couple of surprises here, Coach. Both Virginia Tech winning on the road at North Carolina in the half. And also, that'd be a bad loss for Clemson if they lost at BC.
Boston College is tough at home. Their ability to stretch her out with three-point shooters. And Jarrell Eddy, when he makes shots, Virginia Tech is tougher.
All right, speaking of the ACC, what to watch for next on ESPN. Number 5, Duke takes on Florida State. The Dukies have lost 3 of their last 4 meetings with the Noles, but Florida State is 0-3 against ranked opponents this season. Tallahassee, always a tough trip to make. Tip-off is at 2 o'clock Eastern. And plenty of other games on ESPN networks today. 2 of the SEC's best face-off, with Ole Miss taking on number 4 Florida at 7 o'clock Eastern on the U. Finally, the big one, number 3 Indiana, number 1 Michigan. That game tips at 9 o'clock Eastern right here on ESPN. Michael Carter-Williams on the finishing end of this. Brandon Trish pass, 7 points, 2 assists for Williams. Second half coming up from Pittsburgh.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Wendy's. Now that's better.
Welcome back to the Petersen Events Center in Pittsburgh. It's Saturday Showcase, brought to you by 5 Hour Energy. Cold and blustery outside, pretty hot inside. Team's starting to warm up a little bit. The big stat here, the bench points between Pittsburgh and Syracuse, a 12-1 advantage. And we told you at the beginning of the ball game, biggest strength for Pitt this year has been their ability to not turn it over and to share the basketball, get a lot of assists. How do you see it so far?
Well, they've done a terrific job of being able to move the ball and share the ball. When you talk about Syracuse, though, what they need to do is continue to get transition opportunities. You know, solid defense inside, utilizing the length that we spoke of. And then in transition, they're just hard to stop with their size. But Pittsburgh, on the other hand, in their half court, able to create gaps for their guards to get into, and they've created all sorts of problems for Syracuse. And the ESPN hot zone, when you take a look at it, in the middle of the floor, that's where it starts. The ball goes in the middle of the floor. You not only can score there if you can get it through that zone, but you can also hit the short corner guys slicing in for easy buckets.
It's a little hard to quantify, but can you tell the difference between the Syracuse bench missing two guys so far?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, look, we said before that missing Sutherland, you know, when you look at Pittsburgh, when you look at Syracuse missing Sutherland, they miss almost the same amount of points that he averages. Without him, 67.5. With him, 79.4. And the bench, the same thing. They average 27 points a game with him and only 15 without him. Here's a guy that averages 13.6. So his absence is clearly felt.
Pretty big gap. Woodall with only 3 on the shot clock has to force up a 3. Offensive rebound. Won't go. Tip won't go.
Don't bring it down, Zona.
Zona is tied up. Possession arrow will give it to Syracuse.
So leaves Zona bringing the ball down once he got the offensive rebound, and now he made himself at 6'10", the same size as those little pesky guards.
Whereas little guys can get a hold of it, right?
Yeah. I'll tell you, you talked about during our open here in the second half, the bench points, 12-1, and the fact that Syracuse is pretty thin, playing just 7 guys. But Jim Boeheim always believes that with immediate timeouts and his timeouts, they can always rest these guys so that he can still utilize that rotation without fatiguing them. We'll see.
Grant, very powerful, goes in on the drive, can't get the bucket. Zana with a rebound. What a pass! Holy cow, what a pass for the easy bucket for Ziegler on the reverse.
And that's Pittsburgh's game, being able to hit the open guy. And we talked about assists. They literally almost have an assist for every bucket.
Grant again with the drive, caught up and fouled.
Right there, don't even put the ball on the floor. I mean, that's textbook right there.
Petersen, small forward, with a bullet pass. He is 6th in the Big East in assist to turnover ratio. Gets more than 3 assists per ball game.
Look at that rebound
with a miss, and that time Adams went up strong.
Snatch.
Adams missed it. Tip won't go. Fight for the rebound. And now a tie-up possession arrow will give it to the Panthers.
And I like the idea once again. Ziegler, and I'm just putting the thought in my head, and I'm wondering if he thought about it as well as he comes up a little lane. Possession arrows pointing in their direction. A lot of guys would have called timeout, which would have been a wasted timeout. If you know which arrow or which direction in which the arrow is pointing, that's when you make your judgment whether you call timeout or not, particularly in a game like this. Didn't waste it.
Pitt up by 4 early second half.
Ziegler still a little bit lame right here.
Woodall inbounds to Ziegler. He gives it up to Petersen. Zana can't penetrate against the 2-3.
Nice pass.
Good pass and a good move by Adams. Goes up with the left hand.
Find myself saying it over and over again with Pittsburgh. Nice pass, good look.
But a foul on Ziegler.
I'm not sure about that.
Not in the Big East, is it?
No. He didn't draw any blood, did he? No. Fact of the matter is, though, you don't get that close to the jump shooter. If you're going to do it, you go to the side. You get a hand in his face. Not so much near his arm, and you don't make much contact. There was some contact, but it was after the ball was released.
Carter Williams gets the second. He has one more coming. The floor general of this ball club. 2 out of 3. (31-27) Pittsburgh.
I think the fact that Adams scored on that last one, on that little duck-in, is going to give his teammates a lot more confidence.
Woodall bounced it right between Zana's legs. Carter Williams on the drive had the ball knocked out of bounds, and it will be out to Pitt. Jim Boeheim lobbying for the call, but he's not going to get his wish.
Well, even if you tried, you couldn't get it through the wickets that cleanly.
No.
And then Syracuse on the other end just gives it right back.
And Zana must have wondered what's going on here.
The point I was making, though, before the turnover was Adams, guys have a much more confident look at him now instead of like the first half when he was muffing a lot of opportunities.
Absolutely right. Ziegler hits that runner, and Pitt extends its lead to 6 at 33-27. Jim Boeheim didn't want to see that kind of penetration against his vaunted 2-3 zone. And that's the way you beat it.
If I want it, then I got it. If I don't bet, I'll let it go. Stay up. Fall till I fall. Lost until I finish. Stay up on my business. Fall till I fall. Lost until I finish. I dig go. Now dig go.
Some scene here, isn't it? The 11th year at the Petersen Events Center. Pittsburgh leading Syracuse by 6. Syracuse leads the all-time series, but the Panthers have won 8 of the last 10, and against top 10 teams in 11 seasons here, they are 12-1, trying to make it 13-1 today.
And the success Pittsburgh's had against Syracuse, you know, Jamie Dixon didn't want to say he had a formula per se, but when you take a look as C.J. Fair knocks in the mid-range shot, when you take a look at how Pittsburgh attacks that 2-3, they do it in a variety of ways. A lot of teams try, but Jamie Dixon has the personnel to get it to the sweet spot at the free throw line, set high screens to create gaps for guys to drive, and then most importantly, the offensive rebounding. And year after year, he's got guys who can execute there.
There's 3 good passers on the outside as well. Zana with the miss. 16-minute mark in a 4-point ball game. Syracuse has had trouble shooting the ball all day, only 36%. As Trish drives and has it rejected by Adam. The 7-footer just standing flat-footed and refused to move. And Len, you're right, he has been much more aggressive here in the second half. Petersen,
Look at that cut. Good defense.
Pass, great block. Offensive rebound and a foul.
I'll tell you what, it's been great opportunities from the corner to slice in. That time Ziegler slices in from the short corner, but good finds by the Pittsburgh assist man.
Early second half, Pitt with a lead over Syracuse, 33-29 here in Pittsburgh. U.S. Army gives us a closer look at Michael Carter Williams in the look of a leader. Leads the country in assists, 8.9 a game, and #1 in the Big East with 3 steals a game. Quick hands and vision, a real asset to this sophomore out of Hamilton, Massachusetts.
We take a look at the
today,
assists.
only 2 assists.
Yeah, I mean, and one of the things that they missed is the fact that with James Sutherland not on the floor, he was the beneficiary of an awful lot of Michael Carter Williams passes. Speaking of the leader,
nice steal here, and that should be an intentional foul. As Zana just reached out and grabbed the shoulders, made no effort to go for the ball.
It's got to be a flagrant one.
A great job by Carter Williams losing that length.
I'm really surprised.
70% free throw shooter. And he has 10 points on the day, averages 12.8.
Yeah, in the 4 games that James Sutherland hasn't played, each of those games, Carter Williams is 3 assists under that average of almost 9 per game. So it's another way that Sutherland has missed impact on his teammates.
Petersen, Robinson.
I like the way Pittsburgh reads the zone. You see guys, they're not stationary, they're cutting into gaps. They're finding them quickly. If they're stationary, it's a lot easier for the zone to catch up to them.
Robinson will try the long-range shot. One and done for the Panthers.
For
They haven't had to settle a lot today.
I was going to say, they're one of the most efficient offensive teams in the nation, and that possession wasn't so efficient.
Fair gives it up to Trish. Air ball by Carter Williams. Missed everything. Now Trish penetrating in the lane. Does not get the bounce. Rebound goes to Pittsburgh. Trish had a point-blank look. Couldn't get it to stay down. Boy, a lot of contact underneath and a foul.
They're looking at him. There's a hold right there, and then you take a look at these guys. I don't know how you call that one way or the other.
Well, I don't either. That looked like a double foul, didn't it? Zana picks up his third, though. And will go to Jamie Dixon's bench at the 14-10 mark. It's been physical since the very beginning. There's no doubt about that.
And fortunately for Jamie Dixon, he's got the depth that he has. He can bring Taylor and J.J. Moore in and maybe not miss much of a beat.
One-hand rebound for Rakeem Christmas, and he lost it out of bounds. Syracuse has had a couple of possessions in a row where they could have tied it or taken the lead. Pitt really keeping them in it with 4 seconds. Turnaround jumper by Moore in the lane. That's the soft spot in that 2-3.
And again, we talked about depth. Moore right off the bench. Impact felt immediately.
Carter Williams leans into one and got it. Michael Carter Williams doing more with his offense than with his capabilities as a point guard.
Keep an eye on Moore in that short corner in 44. You know, he's getting behind the defense, and a lot of times guys forget about guys in the short corner.
6 to shoot. That's tipped. Ziegler had it partially blocked, but he was fouled.
Called an offensive.
Oh, Jamie Dixon really upset now. They did call a foul on Ziegler. Be 3 on him.
Take a look at the drive right here. Oh, he's on the restricted line. His foot was on the line. Can't call that. The secondary defender has to be completely out, both feet completely outside of that restricted area.
That's where they painted that thing there, wasn't that the reason? Trish. Ziegler from behind couldn't stop him, and Trish makes it a 35-35 tie. And Jamie Dixon wants to talk about it now. 7th tie, 4th lead change. That should be an easier call than that, shouldn't it, Len?
Yeah, it should. It depends on the angle that the official has. But if you don't have an angle where you can see both the feet and the bodies colliding, you take a look. Here's the pass to Ziegler right here on the drive. Loose ball. Now hold it right there.
Yep. Left foot was in that semicircle.
Left foot was right on that line.
And by rule, it cannot be a charge if the defender is in there.
If he's a secondary defender. And that's the help guy right there. You see that foot is on the line. And he is not Ziegler's man because we're playing a 2-3 zone. Well, so by rule, there really isn't a primary defender. I guess there is because you can isolate man-to-man. But when a guy drives, secondary defender has to be outside of that space. That's a big call right there.
Yes, it was.
Allowed Syracuse to tie the game.
Woodall gives it up to Deron Johnson, number 5, who has checked in for the first time. This is Woodall trying to drive. Shot clock is down to 7. Moore to right, has to force a 3 and got it. Grant was right in his face with the shot clock running down. What a clutch shot.
Well, the fact that they didn't panic was also impressive. Got the ball to an open man.
Cooney, or Trish rather, drives and is fouled. Panthers doing it from the outside for one of the few times today.
Chris Cotter and Coach Greenberg with you. Cincinnati held a big lead at Seton Hall earlier on today over on the U, and then they were able to actually hold on. Coach Sean Kilpatrick, 21 for the Bearcats, but this was closer.
Yeah, Sean Kilpatrick and Kashmir Wright, they are tough to keep out of the lane. 38 of their 65.
Cincinnati improves to 18-4 on the year, 6-3 in conference. That's Mason Plumlee. He and the Duke Blue Devils getting set to take on Florida State in Tallahassee, about 39 minutes away, following our game on ESPN. Back to Mike and Len.
Chris, we only have 12,508 seats here. They're all full, so right down the street at Hemingway's, gathering of Pitt fans having a chance to watch it on television. I think that 12,508 attendance figure will be challenged today if the fire marshal looked the other way, because this place is packed to the rafters.
You see a guy standing outside with a clicker?
I missed that. 3-point Panther lead, Syracuse basketball. 11:28 and counting from Pittsburgh. Carter Williams, offensive foul. Got in too deep and turned it over. His second personal.
Pretty good. Way outside the restricted line, obviously, and established position prior to Michael Carter Williams leaving the ground. All the factors were there.
5 players have scored for Syracuse, 10 for the Panthers. All 10 that are eligible to play have scored for Pittsburgh. Syracuse, of course, missing 2 guys, 1 injured, 1 academics. They're down to 7 scholarship players. Trish lost it on the way in, then dives to try to get it back. Syracuse does save it, and now Pitt loses it out of bounds. A lot of contact, no whistle, but like we mentioned before, when there's a loose ball, almost anything goes.
Well, there's no question about it that once the ball is loose, you know, you've got to forget about anything except going after that ball.
You can push, shove, grab, doesn't seem to make any difference.
It's all about to have or have not.
Reach in, steal by Woodall. And then he's fouled by Carter Williams. That's his 3rd. Big Monday presented by Bud Light as a primetime doubleheader for you. First at 7, Notre Dame against Syracuse. And at 9, Texas, West Virginia. Both games also live on Watch ESPN. It looked like a frustration foul by Michael Carter Williams.
Actually, it was a foul to stop the transition advantage break. He saw that there was only 1 guy back, 3-on-1, and he just decided to foul to stop that, force him to bring it in down.
Whistle and a foul against the Orange on penetration. And on Christmas, that's number 3 on the sophomore from Philadelphia. It's not a turnover. You can throw it into the backcourt. Fans always get a little anxious.
Yeah, but Cameron Wright had to be careful because he took a little shuffle step when he got the ball. The officials let that slide.
Patterson pull up runner. Lamar Patterson, who averages 10 points a game, drains a jumper. And the lead has grown to 5. Pitt is led by as many as 6 in this game.
Yeah, Patterson over the last 4 has averaged 14 points, 4 rebounds. Don't they tell it to the hole? And they call it.
He's fouled. Fouled by Fair.
Take a look on the double team. Carter Williams once again victimized. You know, he's had over the last 5 games, Carter Williams has had 6 assists, but he's also averaged 4 turnovers. I mean, he handles the ball an awful lot, but nevertheless, he's got to take better care of that ball.
Taylor hits the free throw. The senior from Greenburgh, New York. Only the 5th ever McDonald's All-American to come and play basketball at Pitt.
Here's a danger zone for Syracuse. I mean, he averaged approximately 13 turnovers per game. They've already got 12 in this ball game.
Taylor makes 1 out of 2. 41-35. That matches Pitt's biggest lead of the ball game.
You know, when you turn the ball over in a game that's paced like this, you know, it almost doubles the adverse impact.
Trish. He and Carter Williams are usually the guys who take over in tough spots. And right now, this is a tough spot for Syracuse. Patterson. Jumper out of the corner, short by Moore. And knocked out of bounds to the Orange. By Musakita will come back in the ballgame, as will Trevor Cooney for Syracuse. So Jim Boeheim has not gone any deeper into his bench than the 7 available scholarship players. He has walk-ons over there, but has not used one.
And again, we mentioned the fact that Jim Boeheim's rationale for the short bench and being able to manage it are the media timeouts as well as his own timeouts. You always give guys a blow.
Trish got it. Gotta like Brandon Trish's game. Averages 14.9 points a ball game.
He just does a nice job. People expect him to shoot the 3 and to get the mid-range shot, but a much better job this year of driving, And with that little floater, he's able to get around defenders and still avoid the charges.
Robinson looking inside. This is Adams, 16 feet away to Patterson. 5 to shoot. Patterson gives it up right. There's the foul on the 7-footer, Adams. Six points, 4 boards for the freshman from New Zealand. Fair. He's got a great shooting touch.
And being a lefty helps as well, because that throws defenders off. You're so accustomed to guarding right-handers. Put your right hand up and go across your body to try to thwart the right-hander's shot. But right there, the lefty, it's hard to match that, even though it's on the same side.
Patterson, what a beautiful drive, and then use the glass. Panthers playing with a lot of confidence right now, and they've got this crowd at a fever pitch. Notre Dame the other night, they had one of the best home records of anybody in the last few years, but this place matches that in its enthusiasm.
Oh, certainly. And you look at Patterson, nifty move of past and around the screen to get Cooney lost, and then right down the teeth of the defense, and that's what Jim Boeheim wants to talk about. You know, 2-3 zone, a guy just walks right down through your front door. Can't allow that.
They have become famous over the years for playing this 2-3 zone. It has evolved from season to season. They used to play a lot of man-to-man when Jim Boeheim was first the head coach at Syracuse. But now it has evolved to where they play nearly all 2-3, and he has been so successful with it.
Yeah, I don't think it was the fact that Pittsburgh answered Syracuse. It was the fact that how they answered Syracuse that forced that timeout.
The lead is 6. Under 7 minutes to go. Fair gives it up. And another standstill block by Adams. Trying the interior pass, maybe one too many. J.J. Moore turned it over. And Fish fouled before he got the drive. 6:39 left in this game. Syracuse needs a comeback to hold on to a share of first place.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is presented by 5 Hour Energy. What will you do in 5 hours?
Welcome back to Saturday Showcase presented by 5 Hour Energy. If you want to beat Syracuse, you've got to go after that 2-3 zone, and Pitt has done it, Len.
Yeah, they certainly have, and they've done it in a variety of ways. You know, one of the ways that they've been able to do it is getting into that short corner right here. You can take a look, the swings, well, actually short corner and kick it back outside for the jump shot. And then here, once again, driving, trying to draw the top guys. And you get an open look, and here just going around the high screen, creating a gap. And once you get around that high screen, you get through that gap, you create all sorts of problems for the defense. You force them to make decisions. And on that play, Syracuse made the wrong decision.
Of the 20 field goals, 15 have come on assists, and they are dominating the Syracuse bench. A very strange stat. Nobody for Pittsburgh has more than 6 points. Nobody, but there's 1, 2, 3, 4 guys with 6 and 2 with 5. Carter Williams and Fair are leading the way with Syracuse with 13 points apiece.
And all 10 of the Pittsburgh players in this rotation have scored. And as you mentioned, no one more than 6 points. You talk about balance.
Syracuse is a team only shooting 36.8%. And Trish, who's a very good free throw shooter, misses the front end of a big 1-and-1.
Talked about the efficiency of Pittsburgh. You know, they obviously lead the nation in points per possession. And in this game, they've controlled the tempo for the most part, and they're shooting 45%. And despite the fact they've got 45 points, fewer possessions but more efficient output has led them to this lead.
It's going to be a foul on Grant. Number 2 on the freshman from Hyattsville, Maryland. Non-shooting foul.
You know, if you're a company and you're Pittsburgh, you'd be relatively successful. Lower costs, more efficient output.
Leave it to you to think of it that way. Zana at the high post, kicks it outside. Deron Johnson, the 36% long-range shooter. What a time to pull it out, his first bucket. And the bench has outscored Syracuse 25-1. Fair with a runner and quiets the crowd. Pitt stretching that lead out. They had it up to 9, now cut back to 7. Have to be very impressed with the way Pitt has passed the basketball today. 8 on the shot.
Nice look
And
again.
they get it right to the big guy, and Adams, what a difference in his aggressiveness offensively between the first and second half.
And remember, I told you after scoring a couple times early in this second half, his teammates are much more confident. And that pass by Ziegler was outstanding.
I mean, in the first half, he really didn't know, really didn't look like he knew where he was. Now he looks like he's exactly where he's supposed to be.
Yeah, and not only that, he's aggressive and calling for it. You take a look, hold it right there. He's going to step around and watch him ask for a target. Right there, he gets his man, gets his hand out, and nice delivery by Ziegler. All he has to do is stick that hand out, pin his man inside.
The reason Jamie Dixon knew about him is that Jamie Dixon played pro basketball in New Zealand. One of the guys he played with was very familiar with this young man and said, you know, you got to take a look at this kid. He's got some tremendous potential. You use all the sources you possibly can. Trish hits them both.
There are players all over the world.
Apparently.
You just got to establish relationships all over the world.
50-43 Pittsburgh, 4:40 to go.
Yeah, Adams is a raw project that is ever developing.
Petersen, Adams on the ground, came up with a rebound. Great hustle by the big guy. Here's Trish back the other way with a left hand, and he's fouled. Syracuse loves to get out and run.
Take a look, Adams on the floor. he had to kick it out there, otherwise because of 3 seconds he had possession in the drive. That's one thing Syracuse does extremely well. Kick the ball out into transition, and they can take off running.
Well, Trish and Carter Williams can run with the best of them.
Second in the Big East in transition points is Syracuse at 18 points per game. I'm not so sure they have anywhere near that in this game.
And so many of them have come in the open court, which leads to just really easy buckets. Time becoming a factor now in a 5-point game. And the big guy will draw a foul.
And once again, no hesitation in feeding him if he's open, as opposed to the first half where a couple of times he muffed it early and his teammates kind of forgot about him.
He got whacked in the eye here.
Take a look right there at a gap and bound.
Ooh.
Wow. You can
Second
see
defender came over and got him. I think that was fair.
That's Grant.
Grant?
Yeah.
Talking to Adams, asking him if he's all right. This is not his strong suit here. Even though they say he's a very good free throw shooter in practice, he is only shooting 32.6% in games.
Hey, I watched him in practice, and his form and rotation is pretty good.
Well, this would actually be a break for them if he can't shoot the free throws because he's injured. You can designate somebody.
Well, I mean, if you're Jim Boeheim, you talk about designating somebody. Coming off the bench, there are very few guys. I guess Ziegler's 52%.
Well, they're going to send Adams to the locker room, so this is not one of those deals where, oh, he's a poor free throw shooter, so he's hurt. Let's get him out until the free throw shows are over.
Dante Taylor, 67% coming in the game.
Jim Boeheim talking to Jim Burr about this situation. Well, if it takes this long, Adams may be back. Jim Boeheim asking one of his assistant coaches, okay, who's a bad free throw shooter? Let's get him out there.
I think Trey Ziegler is the guy. When they're putting Cameron Wright out there, 10 for 21. Yeah,
he's 47.6%. Has not gone to the line today. And rolls it in. Now that's pressure. That's pressure.
But
You're
if you
the
look at
guy
his
who's
percentage
picked to miss it, and you make it.
But also, you got to feel like, you know, a guy that intentionally walk a guy to get to you.
Exactly. You want to get up and hit a line drive. Well, Wright comes through. Trish. Carter Williams. In and out. Syracuse lead in the Big East is slipping away.
Right now,
Pittsburgh may get that signature win, Len.
Yeah, and it's one that they certainly need, and it's a perfect environment, perfect situation for them playing Syracuse at home. But, hey, we saw this before with Louisville. Syracuse able to come back. They extended that zone, played a lot more aggressively, created turnovers, and ultimately eked out a lead.
Taylor with a jump hook, missed it. The ball's knocked out of bounds. 4 seconds on the shot clock. And Jamie Dixon's going to have a chance to map what he wants to do at the end of this possession. And Cameron Wright, yes, sir, you picked me. I'm going to make you pay, coach. How about that? 2 for 2.
Chris Cotter and Coach Greenberg battle at the Smith Center here. Jackson Simmons' his only field goal of the game for North Carolina.
Simpson did a nice job of getting to the offensive glass. He's a role player that comes up big today for the Tar Heels.
Tar Heels, though, still trailing by 1 point with about 5 minutes left to go. Here's Michael Snare. Last year for Florida State, the game winner in Cameron. Coach, you know a thing or two about this young man.
I've been snared in Tallahassee.
Florida State and Duke coming your way next on ESPN. They'll tip in about 15 minutes' time. Back to Mike and Len.
All right, Chris, the journey to the tourney will continue tonight on ESPN at 9. The Big Ten battle is Michigan takes on Indiana, also live on Watch ESPN. It's been 20 years since Michigan was #1, and this year being #1 is really a danger spot. We measure it in minutes most of the time.
Yeah, short shelf life.
And that's a shot clock violation.
Well, this is danger, a little bit of danger time for Pittsburgh. They got to be very careful despite having this lead. You know how explosive Syracuse can be on offense and then creating offense out of their defense.
Haven't won here since 2004, and Pitt has made a habit out of upsetting top 10 teams. One and done for Syracuse. 3 minutes left.
Boy, Carter Williams.
That pressure.
Carter Williams, alligator arm that shot. He didn't really put it all in there. Short-armed it badly. And look at the extension of the defense. We mentioned it before. They had to do that.
Very fortunate timeout. James Robinson had one leg ready to come down past midcourt, which would have been a backcourt violation, and he just sort of paused and called timeout.
Yeah, he looked like basketball version of the Heisman on that. Trying to hold off the defenders, hold the ball, one leg in the air. Well, we talk about, again, the strength of Pittsburgh. Their passing right there didn't even touch the ground. Textbook passing. Then the ability, once again, even when they're falling out of bounds, to continue to focus on finding the open man. Nice duck in by Adams. And then here, again, the patience to get inside the gaps and find the cutters. 17 assists, 22 field goals. And they've been able to do it the right way, utilizing patience, ducking guys in, not standing stationary, but cutting to the open spots when they present themselves.
Adams, by the way, is back on the Pittsburgh bench after getting whacked in the eye. They don't like to play him in late game situations because of his lack of free throw ability.
Yeah, I mean, he could be an instant turnover. You foul him.
Zana double team, gets it back to Robinson. Robinson goes inside to Patterson, and Patterson will draw the foul.
And again, not afraid to find the open man, not afraid to throw it to guys in a crowd. The other thing you have to compliment Pittsburgh on is their hands. I mean, terrific hands, catching the ball in a crowd, you know, being able to secure it and go up strong.
Patterson rims out on the free throw. That last foul was on Michael Carter Williams, and you see Adams dabbing at his eye.
Yeah, that's Carter Williams' fourth.
Missed them both. Offensive rebound. A jump ball situation. Possession arrow gives it to Syracuse. That was almost a huge break for Pitt as Zana somehow got his hands on the offensive rebound. Pitt's only made 5 out of 10 free throws. The official almost down on the ground watching to see if that ball goes out of bounds. Possession arrow will give it back to Pitt.
I'll tell you what, Pittsburgh's dodging a couple of huge ones right now.
Aren't they?
You know, they're kind of misfiring on their offensive end, but Syracuse not really taking advantage. Cooperating nicely with Pittsburgh.
There's that pressure.
There they go again.
Knocked out of bounds as they go after Dante Taylor.
And I mentioned it before. Just because you got a 7-point lead, you cannot relax against Syracuse.
Well, just remember, a 7-point lead is only 2 3-point shots away from being a 1-point lead. And they get it inside to Grant, and Grant is fouled. And another player gets hit in the face. Zana is down as he got whacked on the way up. That's 4 on Zana.
Take a look at the drive and the kick. Boom.
Oh.
Left hand. Inadvertent, but man.
Inadvertent doesn't make it hurt any less, does it? These are big shots. Grant goes to the line. It's only a 53.5% free throw shooter.
And I'm telling every young man that plays this game, every young woman that plays this game, you don't think free throws count? They're not worth working on them?
They're huge.
They are.
He has worked on his shot. He used to have nothing but a line drop shot. Now he gets a lot of arc, but he still only got it up to 53.5%. 6-point game, still plenty of time left. 2:10.
Oh, man.
Almost turned it over. Ahead to Moore, and Moore is fouled.
Good foul by Trish. You got to make him earn it, but I'll tell you what. Pittsburgh dodged one, almost throws it under and gets it stolen. You can't throw it under the other guy's basket. And there Trish with the hustle back.
That was almost stolen for a layup.
That's what I'm saying. It's underneath the other guy's basket. You've got to throw away, even against pressure.
Moore is an exceptional free throw shooter, 85%. (53-46), 2:05 left. This win would take Pitt to 6-4 in the Big East. Drop Syracuse to 6-2.
And right now, that's the name of the game for Pittsburgh. Don't turn it over. Solid D and knock down your free throws.
Tough shot by Carter Williams. Offensive rebound, tipped twice. Here's the pressure again in a 6-point game. They beat the 10-second count. And now the clock really their friend.
And this is where you take your time. You don't get into a rush because the defense has to come to you. You see them establishing what they're going to do, doubling you or whatever, get in a position to move the ball. Make the defense commit and then utilize what they commit against them.
Keita commits the foul.
All too often, guys try to act before, in this situation, try to act before the defenses commit, and they get themselves in trouble. They do it out of panic.
Petersen knocks down the first.
And as I said before, all they got to do is not turn it over, knock down their free throws, and the Panthers can go home happy.
Back to a 3-possession game. And the lead stays at 7. Last couple of trips, Syracuse has had to force shots fair all the way to the rack.
That was too easy. You got to play some D.
Ahead in the pack, Moore. If they're going to press you, if you can beat it, make them pay. Carter Williams with a 3. No. Rebound. Goes to Woodall, and he's fouled by Carter Williams. That'll be 5 on the Syracuse point guard.
That's one of those situations where Carter Williams is so important to his team. I'm not so sure I would have let him go and get the layup because now you can come back down again. He creates so much for them. If it were any other guy, and I think that's what Jim Boeheim's talking about, I mean, you certainly want to be able to stop the clock. But in that situation, if I'm Carter Williams, I let him score and I have to come back down and get something else because I'm the center of attention offensively. I create for other guys as well as for myself.
Hats off to the Pittsburgh bench, 5 deep. They have outscored Syracuse 29-1 in this game.
And we expected it. We talked about it right at the beginning of the telecast. The lack of Sutherland and the lack of Coleman would certainly put some pressure and allow the Panthers' deep bench to take a toll. But to that extent, I'm not sure anybody could have expected it.
Trish can't hit the three. And we only have 53.1 seconds left in an 8-point game. And the crowd on its feet here in Pittsburgh. This is going to take the Panthers in this building to a 13-1 record against top 10 teams. How about that?
I'm sitting here looking at Duron Johnson as he came into the ball game. That's goaltend.
That's a foul, and it's a goaltend on top of it. Woodall.
That was going in anyway. But I'm looking at Duron Johnson and C.J. Fair. They're like almost mirror images with the headbands and number 5. That was a layup anyway. That was exactly where he needed to lay it up on the glass.
Cooney commits the foul. And Pitt now leads by 10. Well, Jamie Dixon said he wanted that signature win, the one that would make everybody pay attention. Well, he got it.
I certainly did. Again, we talked about the opportunities they've had throughout the season. They played Michigan in November, and they lost to them by 5. They played Cincinnati, lost to them by 9. And at Louisville the other day, they lost to them by 3. But here they seem to have found their stride at home. And number 6 Syracuse about to succumb to the Pittsburgh Panthers.
Coming up next, Duke in Tallahassee to face FSU, Tennessee, Arkansas, and then Kentucky, Texas A&M back on ESPN.
Boy, and that's no trip to paradise in Florida for Duke. Florida State always plays them tough and physical.
Don't they ever? ESPN College Basketball available live anytime, anywhere on your computer, tablet, or smartphone at watchespn.com and with the Watch ESPN app.
That's right. Do like the pros do. That's how we prepare. Watching ESPN. That's right.
I think it's fascinating. You can end up being at home, watching your TV. You can have your iPad and your iPhone out, and you can watch everything else. Here are the standings, and not updated. Syracuse would go to 6-2, and leaving Marquette at least temporarily all alone with the lead in the Big East. Pittsburgh would go to 6-4, and they are still in the hunt to be in the top part of the standing.
And make no mistake about it, Syracuse did not take Pittsburgh lightly. Obviously, you know what they can do here in Petersen Events Center. Jim Boeheim mentioned that Pittsburgh's so much better than their record. He's really surprised that they were 5-4 in conference. And the other thing Jim said was the reason why Pittsburgh over the years has beaten them is you look at the talent they've had. They've just been better.
They've had some pretty good players.
They've been in the top 4, yep. And in this game, they've been better. Syracuse didn't have their full array of talent, certainly, but to take nothing away from the way Pittsburgh attacked.
Well, the other thing, Pitt has gotten a lot of talent through the recruiting of Jamie Dixon, but he knows how to coach him once he's got him here, too.
Yeah, we mentioned before, formula. Getting guys that know how to execute, you know, their schemes, execute the philosophy Jamie Dixon has brought.
Trey Woodall could become the first player in double figures for Pitt today, and does. I think that's remarkable. You go to 39.6 seconds to go in a game that you're winning, and finally somebody gets into double digits.
Well, again, you look at all 10 guys who scored. You know, where's your weakness? You know, that's what it comes down to. It's tough to key on one guy or 2 guys when you got other guys capable. Oh, what a scream of Christmas right there. Shook Robinson's teeth fillings.
Yeah, Robinson looking around and going to be counting body parts just to make sure.
And whoever was guarding Rakeem Christmas from Robinson, you know, I put some shaving cream in his sneakers or something. You got to remember to call him out.
You got to let your teammate know that there is somebody standing there at 6'9", 242 pounds who's going to lean into you a little bit just as you get there. got to handle the, or you got to give credit to the crowd, I think. They've been a huge factor in this entire game, and these people, a lot of them stayed out in the cold overnight to get tickets. I mean, what was it last night, 12?
I'll tell you what, it was. And the zoo, they brought them into the building, but the zoo, as loud as I've ever heard them, I mean, they're terrific. They rival just about anybody's,
they do,
basic fan base, if you will. Cameron Crazies, you've got other folks out there that pride themselves on their crowd participation. These folks are as good as any.
Trish somehow kept his dribble alive, got into the lane, draws the foul with 21.2 seconds to go.
They're as good as any and better than most.
That's right. One of the great phrases of all time. Matter of fact, I did a game with Bob Knight about 10 days ago and mentioned that he had used that phrase in a teaching video that I saw many moons ago.
I thought I made that up.
No, he stole it from the movie Shane. Trish knocks down the free throw. 65-55, 21.2 seconds left. Hats off to the Panthers as they will pull the big upset here at home and go to 13-1 against top 10 teams all time in this building. And they come to their feet in Pittsburgh, and these kids deserve a standing ovation for what they did today. And they've won 9 of the last 11 against Syracuse. That's not bad either.
They just know how to win. They know how to play against that 2-3 zone.
Once again, the final score here at the Petersen Events Center in Pittsburgh. The Panthers 65, Syracuse 55. Coming up next on ESPN, Duke and Florida State. For Lynn Elmore and our entire crew, this is Mike Patrick. Thanks for watching. Now we take you back to our